This is the Big 6 lesson conclusion. This is Mrs. Dykes, the librarian again. This is the lesson on the Big 6. You should have already watched the introduction, taken the pre-assessment, and watched the 2 videos on the Big 6. We are going to wrap up this lesson by covering the Big 6 step by step. You should have a copy of the lesson handout. If you don't, please go get one. One side of the handout has steps of the Big 6 research method listed out. We'll be going into those in depth in a minute, but first I want to point out to you the other side of the handout where you'll see some resources. There's a link to another slideshow on the Big 6 research method. There's also a link explaining the Big 6 research method through the process of making banana splits. The third resource is an infographic on using the Big 6 process for writing an extended essay or a research paper. The fourth website is an interactive list of steps. You can click on each step to get more information and see what you should be asking yourself at different points. It also gives pointers as to what you need to do next. The final resource I have included is a graphic organizer that you can use while implementing the Big 6 research process. It is well structured and leads you in the right direction at each point so that you can monitor your own progress. Now we're really going to get into the Big 6. Like the name suggests, there are 6 steps. Each step can be broken into 2 parts. Remember how I said that when we successfully solve information problems, we go through all these steps? I want to walk through each step with an example from outside school and one from in the academic setting, because information problems are not limited to school. The first step is task definition. We can further break that into 2 parts. What is the information problem, and what information is needed to solve that problem? What is your question, and what information are you looking for? For example, let's say you wanted to order a pizza. The first step is deciding what information you are lacking. Let's say you know the name of the pizza place, and you want it delivered, and you want to order online, but you don't know the website off the top of your head. The task you want to accomplish is ordering your pizza online. The information you need would be the URL where you can find the order form online. When you're going through this first step in a school research project, this is where you're going to be defining what your research question is and what information you will need to fully answer the question given your teacher's requirements for the project. Sometimes your teacher may define the task for you. Other times you will have to formulate your own question. Remember, strong research questions do not have one easily located answer. This is also where you will identify what sort of project you're going to be doing. Step 2 is information seeking strategies. The first part is to think of all the possible sources. Let's look at our pizza problem first. If we know someone who orders from there regularly, we could ask them, or for that matter, we could call the pizza place and ask. We could go to the library and ask the librarian. We could also do a search online for the pizza place's online form. The second part of this step is to evaluate those sources and decide which would be best. The best choice in this case is searching online. The librarian probably doesn't have any information that you don't have already, and so that would be a wasted trip. Calling a friend or the pizza place would be less efficient than using a search engine when you want to order online anyways. So going to the computer is the best source. Depending on the information you need, the best source may vary. When we start your resource project, you'll want to think about print materials like books and digital resources, like the online databases we have access to. You will also want to consider how up-to-date a resource is, as well as how reliable. Once you've decided on what the best sources would be, you're going to work on step 3, location and access. First, we're going to locate the sources, and then we have to find the information within the sources. So back to our pizza. We've decided to use a search engine on the internet. Once we choose an engine, we will need to locate the correct entry in the search results. Then, once we get the right website, we will have to find the online order form. In a school research project, this would be where you find your resources. You locate the books that might be helpful, finding them in the library, and then finding the information in the book. You see what databases you have access to that might have information you need. You may need to see where you can access which databases. Some can be accessed at home, but others may only be accessed on campus. Now that you have found all that information, we're going to move on to step 4, which is using that information. This is where you're going to gather the information from the source. Depending on the source, that might mean reading, listening, or even viewing. So with our pizza scenario, we'll read the order form and determine what information is relevant. Which options will we choose for our pizza? In a school research project, this is going to be where you get the information from your sources and then you record it. Make sure you make note of where the information comes from so that you can cite it later. As you engage with the information, you will use your research question to decide which information you need to take note of. It's unlikely you will need all the information on any given topic, so your research question is there to guide you to the answers that you do need. Now that you have all the information, we're going to move on to step 5, which is synthesis. Here you're going to organize your information if you have multiple sources, and then present it in whatever format you decided on earlier. In our pizza example, you would fill on the online form to order your pizza, choosing your toppings, and then submitting it. In a research project, this is where you take all the information you gathered on a subject and put it together to form your cohesive project as a paper, presentation, or whatever form you defined in your task in step 1. Remember to cite your sources. While this step took little time in ordering our pizza, in a research project, organizing information from different sources and putting it in an order that makes sense takes considerably more time. Once we've finished the project, we still have one step to go. The last step of the Big 6 is evaluation. Here you will judge both the product and the process. So, did you get the pizza? That would be effectiveness. Were you able to accomplish the task? Would you do it the same way next time? Could the process be better? That's efficiency. For example, maybe the search engine you used fooled you with an ad from a competitor's pizza and you would use a different one next time. Or maybe you used your cell phone to order, but the page was not mobile friendly and it would have been easier to use a laptop or a desktop. Evaluation helps us reflect on the process to get better at solving our information needs. On a project, this is where you would look over your project before turning it in. Did you meet all the requirements? Is it neat? If you have a rubric, check against that. And then think about your research. What worked and what didn't? Did your resources work for you? What other resources would have been better? Taking time to reflect helps keep us from making the same mistakes over and over, and it also helps us remember the parts that went well, making us more efficient at finding the information that we want. So in conclusion, the Big 6 is a series of 6 steps used to find the information you want efficiently. Depending on the task, the amount of time that each step requires can vary. The whole process can be as short as ordering a pizza or as long as months spent on a research project. This year, your teacher and I will be working with you on projects implementing these steps. Please feel free to ask your teacher or me if you have any questions, especially if you have explored the resources and you still don't understand something. Until next time, I'll see y'all in the library.